Alright, hey guys, I'm here with another tutorial today, and today, here, I'm going to show you what we're going to be making. We're going to be making this effect. That's what we're going to be making today. It's a pretty long tutorial. I say probably 2 parts, so let's get started. First thing you want to do is open up Cinema 4D. Here we go. Create a new file, and let's get started. First thing that we want to do is come into the spline here, the little zigzaggy line, and select a text spline. So we got our text here. I'm going to change my text to tut for tutorial, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the font. You can do whatever you want for that. Now we got tut, and yeah, it should be good. Next thing that we want to do is we want to go into the front view. So by clicking this little square up here, it brings up our 4 views and goes to the one that says front. And here's our scene from the front. Now we're going to go back into the spline, and I'm going to use a visor. And what you're going to do is you're going to start by clicking outside of the text on the left. And then to use this, if you click and hold, you can drag around and it'll change the curve of the line if you want it really sharp or if you want it nice and smooth. And you're just going to make it wavy. So it's like that. And you want to make it come up and back down. And then I just click the object tool, so it closes it. Now we got our spline here, and we got our text that says tut. This spline is going to serve as a spline mask. So let's go and get the spline mask object. I'm not sure where it is in 11.5. It might be under MoGraph someplace, but in R12 it's under the array and spline mask. Now what we're going to do is the spline mask, it's on A union B, and we want to change that to A subtract B. Now we're going to drag and drop the spline in, and drag and drop the text in. Now if we click the spline, and we drag it all the way down so we can't see it, I'm going to go back to keyframe number 1 by clicking this little arrow or coming on the keyframe and going number 1, and click this little red circle with the key in it, and it'll add a keyframe. And then drag it to around 120, or put 120 in here, and drag your spline up until it just finishes over the letter. For you it'll be different, but mine it ends C, as you can see right there on the T, and then it just finishes right there. And then add another one, another keyframe. So now if we go back to 0 and play, we can see it's appearing. So now we can go back into the perspective view by clicking this little square again and clicking the square of the perspective view. If we play again, we can see it comes up. Alright, now what we have to do is, you can see it's still a spline, so we have to add, we have to make it 3D. So what we're going to do is we're going to come into this like cube in these little like lines and everything, which is hypernerb. We're going to come and we're going to grab an extrude NURBS and drag and drop the spline mask into the extrude NURBS. You can see it's 3D. Just like that. Alright, now what we're going to do is we're going to come into the extrude NURBS option, and under objects we're going to change the movement from 20 to around 6. so then it's a lot thinner. And also, we're going to come under caps, fillet cap, and we're going to change the steps and the radius is on both to 2. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So now we got that. Okay, now we only got 1. Now we want to add a whole bunch of text. So we're going to come under the MoGraph. We're going to grab a cloner object. Now drag and drop the extrude NURBS into the cloner. And you can see it clones it, but it clones it in the wrong direction. So if you come here where it says all the coordinates, it says the y-axis is 50. You want to make that 0 and then change the z-axis to 50. So now you can see it's copying in the right direction. Alright, so now we want to put 5. Okay, alright, I made a mistake here. This isn't 50. You want to make sure that your first text is in the back. So it's going to be around minus 10. I think minus 10. Yeah, put it to minus 10. Sorry, my bad about that. Now we can, if we play, sorry, my screen kind of freaks out. You can see they're all coming up, but they're coming up at the same time, and we don't want that. So, what we're going to do is we are going to grab a step effector. So if you click on your cloner object, make sure it's selected, come under MoGraph, and go to effector, and go to step. For 11.5, it'll just be down here. So grab a step effector, and if we go in our timeline, we can see it's making it bigger, but we don't want to make it bigger. So just click on the step, and come down here to transform, or in parameters, and uncheck the scale. Just uncheck that altogether. And then down here, where it says time offset, change that to 17 frames. There. Now you can see it's making some steps. Now we'll play it, and they're all coming up at different times. This is what we want. Alright. So, now, everything's looking good. Everything's looking good. We can just render that. Do a quick little render. Oh, I have global illumination on, sorry. See, now we can see it's coming up. Nice. Alright. Next thing that we're going to do is click the cloner object again and go to MoGraph, effectors, and grab a shader. Again, it'll just be down here for 11.5. R12 is under effectors, MoGraph, and grab a shader effector. And again, it makes it bigger, so come into it and uncheck the scale. Now in the shader, come here into the shading. On custom shader, click color. Alright, now we're gonna double click in the materials or file, new materials. Right there. And we're gonna get a new material, double click on that material, and we get this. And in here, we're gonna make a color for our thing. So under the color tab, go texture, click the little arrow, and come down to gradient. And then if you click on the gradient, you can see it goes from black to white. So now you can pick any 2 colors, but I'm gonna go from an orange to a red, dark red. Now this is what our text is gonna look like. So now what you do is you go and you click and you drag this texture onto the shader effector, and then you click and drag the texture into the texture tag. So now if we render it, you can see it goes from red, orange. So that's looking good. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we are going to make another material, and we're just gonna, under color, you're gonna go texture, and you're gonna come down to MoGraph, and select color shader. And what this is gonna do is it's gonna tell Cinema 4D that this, to know what color I want, go to the color shader in here. So it'll make so your color will be your last texture that you made. So then click on reflection, put the brightness to 75, and then come in texture and grab a for now, and put it to around 75 also. Alright, now drag and drop that on the clone object. So now, when we render, we got some sexy reflections. Alright, now we're getting close to finishing. See, coming up at all different times. Alright, now what we're gonna do is at the very end of the thing, a full text comes over it. And to make that full text, you have to come into the clone object and you have to copy and paste the extrude NURBS. Just like that. Right, and after you copy and paste the extrude NURBS, go forward in the timeline a bit and drag it forward till it's just in front of the first text. And come to the object of the extruded NURBS and change it to, depends how many copies you made of the text, change it to around 50. Right, and now come into caps, and you can see these lines still. We're going to put the radius and the steps to 5, 5, 5, and 5. Alright, but now if we play, just the only thing that you can see is this big text. So this might be a little new for somebody, but we have to change the keyframes of this. There's no keyframes for it, so what we're going to do is we're going to go Windows, Layout, Animation, and then it's going to change a bit. Don't worry, we can change it back very easily. Alright, now come to the first extrude NURBS here, and click and drag the keyframe. We'll try 17 first. I don't exactly know what the proper keyframe is. It depends on what you're doing or what you're making. And alright, drag it to around 23. And then Windows, Layout, and Standard. And I'll change it right back. Alright, so now, if we play, sorry about the freaking out, you can see all of this is coming up, and then our big text is coming up to cover it. You can see that. Alright guys, this tutorial is going to be 2 parts, so they're both going to be posted one right after another, so don't worry, and they'll be up soon. I guess when you're watching this soon, you'll be thinking, wait, this is already up, this guy's stupid. But yeah, I'll see you in part 2. Peace.